Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into some really interesting material that you shared with us, looking at sustainable materials and, well, the science behind making them actually work. Specifically, we're digging into excerpts from a document called Advanced Tools for Characterizing Nanocellulose-Based Composites.
Right, and our mission, really, for this deep dive is to get a handle on why nanocellulose is seen as this incredibly promising material for the future. We're talking biodegradable, strong, lightweight.
Yeah.
It even has unique optical properties.
Yeah.
And then crucially, how these cutting-edge scientific tools are, absolutely essential to unlocking its full potential for a whole range of applications.
Exactly, and it's not just one thing, is it?
Yeah.
We're talking different types here, like the tiny rod-shaped cellulose nanocrystals, CNCs.
Right, yeah.
The longer kind of spaghetti-like cellulose nanofibrils, CNFs, and even bacterial nanocellulose, BNC. The document makes it really clear why these are so interesting. They come from renewable sources, they can break down naturally, they're surprisingly strong for their weight.
Which is amazing.
And yeah, some like those CNCs have that cool property, chirality.
Yeah.
Where they interact with light in unique ways.
And that potential, whether it's for, say, next-gen packaging or maybe biomedical devices, flexible electronics, even car parts, it completely hinges on understanding the material at, the most fundamental level.
Right.
You can't just have the nanocellulose. You need to know its precise structure, how those tiny fibers are actually arranged, how they behave when you mix them with other things, and how the final composite performs,
So, okay, this is where the advanced tools part comes in.
Yeah.
The research highlights that studying these materials isn't exactly simple. You need a whole suite of, well, sophisticated techniques.
Absolutely. You really do. To actually see these structures, understand their arrangement at the nanoscale, you need powerful microscopy. The source mentions tools like atomic force microscopy, AFM, transmission electron microscopy, SM, and scanning electron microscopy, SEM. These aren't just, pretty pictures. They let researchers map the surface or look through thin sections to see exactly how the nanocellulose is organized.
And getting that organization right is key.
Oh, absolutely critical. It directly impacts properties like strength and stiffness massively.
Okay. And what about that unique light interaction you mentioned, the chirality? How do you probe that?
Yeah, that's where chiroptical methods come in. Things like circular dichroism or CD. This technique basically measures how the material absorbs different types of polarized light.
Right.
Giving you insight into that sort of helical structure of the CNCs and how you might exploit it for, say, sensors or optical films. Cool stuff.
It sounds like it. But beyond just structure, you also need to know how strong these composites are, how stable they are under stress or changing conditions, right?
Right, exactly. That brings in mechanical and thermal analysis tools. Techniques like dynamic mechanical analysis, DMA, tell you how the material behaves under varying temperatures or forces, while thermogravimetric analysis, TGA, measures its stability as you heat it up. The document even mentions some really exciting innovations like operando testing.
Operando?
Yeah, think of it like observing the material's behavior while it's actually being processed or experiencing some real-world stress. It gives you dynamic insights, not just a static picture.
That sounds incredibly useful.
Yeah.
And of course, the chemistry underneath it all, how the fibers bond with each other, how they bond with other materials. In a composite, that's got to be vital.
Totally vital. So spectroscopy tools like FTIR, Raman spectroscopy, XPS, that's X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy, they help you identify chemical bonds, analyze surface modifications, see how well different components are interacting. Plus, if you're working with nanocellulose dispersed in liquids, which is often how you process it, tools like dynamic light scattering and Zeta Potential analysis are key. They tell you how well it disperses and how stable that suspension is.
Which must be crucial for getting consistent results in manufacturing.
Crucial, absolutely.
So it's clear from the source that researchers aren't just relying on, one magic tool.
Yeah.
It's more integrated, combining techniques.
Definitely. They're using integrated approaches, maybe combining different microscopy methods, or even bringing in advanced data analysis, like machine learning, to help interpret really complex data sets and predict how the material will behave.
And this whole sophisticated toolkit is what's really driving the innovation forward, enabling the applications we're starting to see.
That's exactly it. It's enabling things like bacterial nanocellulose in wound dressings, or these nanocellulose composites in high-barrier recyclable food packaging, or exploring their potential in flexible electronics, or those lightweight vehicle parts we talked about.
But reading through it, it also sounds like it's not all straightforward. The document points out some pretty significant challenges still.
Oh, for sure. It's not easy. Getting those tiny fibers to disperse uniformly and bond really well within a composite matrix can be quite tricky.
Right.
And ensuring the material stays strong and stable over time, especially against environmental factors like humidity, that's another big hurdle.
And the scale-up problem, too, I imagine, going from the lab bench with these super precise tools to actual industrial production.
Exactly. Scaling up cost effectively while maintaining quality, that requires translating all this deep understanding into practical, maybe faster quality control methods for the factory floor.
So the future directions mentioned, they seem to tackle these issues. Things like developing real-time monitoring tools for manufacturing.
Yeah, and standardizing characterization methods so everyone's speaking the same language, doing full life cycle assessments.
Yeah.
And then some really exciting avenues like miniature lab-on-a-chip systems for faster testing and using AI-driven digital twins.
Digital twins, like simulating the composite.
Pretty much. Simulating and predicting its performance before you even make it, potentially saving a lot of time and resources.
Wow. Okay, so ultimately, the message from this source is that really mastering nanocellulose, harnessing its potential, it requires this deep, multifaceted understanding that only this cutting-edge toolkit can provide.
Precisely. These characterization techniques aren't just analytical methods in a lab. They are fundamentally the engine driving innovation in sustainable materials science.
It really makes you think, though, doesn't it? You consider those challenges the source mentions. Consistency at scale, long-term durability. But then you look at how fast these characterization tools are advancing and the potential of future approaches like those AI digital twins.
Yeah, it raises a pretty fascinating question, actually. Just how quickly might these high-performance, eco-friendly nanocellulose materials move beyond niche applications?
Right, into everyday products.
Exactly. Could we see them becoming common components in, say, the plastic parts in our cars or maybe the flexible displays in our electronics? It's certainly something to keep an eye on as these tools keep getting better.